For years, you've been told the same old story. To change your life, you need to set bigger goals, find more discipline, just get more motivated. But let's be honest, what if all of that is just wrong? I mean, think about it. How many times have you started a new habit full of energy and determination, only to be right back where you started a few weeks later? You are not alone in this. The data shows that the vast majority of resolutions fail. And here's the thing, that's not a problem with you, it's a problem with the strategy. So today we're going to tear down that old model and install a brand new operating system for change, one that's built on a powerful, almost counterintuitive truth about how our minds actually work.
Let that sink in for a second. The real issue isn't what you're trying to achieve, it's who you believe you are. See, most of us try to change by focusing on an outcome, the what. But that approach is so fragile. It's like building a house on a foundation of sand. The second you hit that goal, you run the marathon, you lose the weight, the motivation just crumbles. There's no what's next. The scientific framework we're going to unpack right now makes change feel effortless because it builds your house on the bedrock of identity. It's all about who you are becoming, which makes the hard stuff feel like a natural expression of who you are. All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll dive into the identity paradox. Then, we'll expose the real enemy that's been sabotaging you. After that, I'm going to lay out the identity-based framework, the actual blueprint for change. We'll explore the psychology of automaticity to see why this rewires your brain. Then, I'll give you a simple 3-step implementation protocol you can start today. And finally, we'll talk about how your first vote for your new self starts the minute this is over.
So, let's jump right in with the core idea, the big paradigm shift. This isn't just some new trick, it's a totally different way of looking at personal growth. It's about shifting your entire focus from what you do to who you are. This is the key to breaking that cycle of starting and stopping. It's the key to unlocking consistent, almost effortless progress. Now just look at the difference between these two statements. On the left, I want to run a marathon. That's an outcome. It's a finish line. But on the right, I am a runner. That's an identity. It's a way of being. Let's play this out. Imagine it's a cold, rainy morning. The I want to run a marathon person looks outside and thinks, I can skip today. The race is months away. Their motivation is tied to that distant goal. But the I am a runner person, they see the same rain and think, this is what runners do. We show up. For them, the action isn't even a debate. It's just proof of who they are. The old way is fragile. The new way is resilient.
To really get why the identity approach is so powerful, we have to diagnose why the old way almost always fails. And listen, it's not your fault. You've been fighting this invisible enemy, this powerful psychological force that practically guarantees you'll fall off the wagon. So, let's give it a name.
You ever say something like, I really value being healthy, while you're reaching for another slice of pizza? You know that weird, uncomfortable, internal tug-of-war you feel in that moment? That's it. That's cognitive dissonance. It's the mental friction, the stress you feel when what you're doing doesn't line up with who you believe you are. And here's the thing, your brain hates that feeling. It craves consistency, and it will do whatever it takes to resolve that conflict, which usually means making you quit the new action.
So this is the heart of the matter. Your new actions are in a direct fight with your old self-image. You decide you're going to wake up at 5 a.m., but the story you've been telling yourself for years is, I'm just not a morning person. It's like you've got this narrator in your head who's constantly reinforcing that old script. You might be able to force a few actions that go against the story, but that narrator is relentless. It will always try to pull you back to the familiar plot. It's not a fair fight. Your identity is going to win every single time. It's the silent saboteur of your best intentions.
And every single time you force yourself to do something that goes against your identity, you are burning through a very limited resource, your willpower. Think of it like your phone battery. That internal battle, that cognitive dissonance, is a massive power drain. Your brain is built for efficiency. It wants to conserve energy. Forcing an action that clashes with your core beliefs is one of the most draining things you can ask it to do. It creates so much friction, and eventually, the battery just dies. You miss one day, then another, and before you know it, you're right back to the behaviors that match your old identity. This isn't a moral failure, it's a system failure.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem. Now, let's build a solution. We're shifting from the why you fail to the how you succeed. This is the systematic framework that actually eliminates that cognitive dissonance and makes change feel natural instead of forced.
The entire system is built on flipping that old logic on its head. We stop asking, what do I want to achieve? And we start asking, who do I wish to become? See, the goal isn't just to write a book, it's to become a writer. The goal isn't just to lose 20 pounds, it's to become a healthy person. The goal isn't just to learn guitar, it's to become a musician. Shifting from an action to a state of being, well, that changes everything.
So the framework has 3 clear phases. First, you define the desired identity. Second, you translate that identity into small wins. And third, you accumulate evidence. Now, we call these small actions votes for a very specific reason. Think about it. In an election, one single vote doesn't decide the outcome, right? But over time, the accumulation of thousands of votes creates a clear mandate for change. Every small win you have is a piece of evidence, another vote you cast for this new version of yourself. And eventually, your brain sees all this mounting evidence and has no choice but to say, okay, I guess this is who we are now.
So, how does this actually work on a neurological level? How does it rewire your brain? Because this isn't just about positive thinking. This framework is so effective because it directly hacks the brain's hardwired systems for habit formation and for consistency. So let's pop the hood and take a look.
So why does this simple little shift from outcome to identity work so incredibly well? Well, the answer is in how it solves those deep psychological roadblocks we just talked about, and how it recruits the parts of your brain that are literally designed for automatic behavior.
There are really 3 key things happening here. First, it resolves cognitive dissonance. When you say, I am a writer, and then you go write one sentence, your action now lines up with your identity. Poof, conflict gone. Second, it boosts intrinsic motivation. The reward isn't something external, like praise or money. The reward is the deep, internal satisfaction of being the person you want to be. It's a stable, self-sustaining fuel source that never runs out. And third, and this is the big one, it engages the basal ganglia. And this right here is the end game. The basal ganglia is your brain's habit-making factory. So when you repeatedly vote for your new identity, by doing that small action, you are literally carving a new neural pathway in this part of your brain. Imagine walking through a grassy field. The first time you do it, it's kind of tough. But the more you walk that same path, the more defined it gets, until eventually it becomes this well-worn trail that's actually easier to follow than to ignore. That, right there, is the definition of a true habit, an unconscious, automatic routine.
All right, we've covered the theory, we've covered the science, now let's get ruthlessly practical. This isn't something to just think about for later. This is a protocol you can implement the second this explainer is over. Here are the exact 3 steps.
Step 1. Define the identity. Write a simple present tense statement. I am a proactive person. I am a writer. Whatever it is. Step 2. Design the daily vote. Translate that identity into a ridiculously small action, one that takes 2 minutes or less. And when I say ridiculously small, I mean it should be almost laughable not to do it. For instance, after I pour my morning coffee, I will write 1 sentence in my journal. That's it. That's your vote. And step 3, track the votes. You're not judging the outcome. You are just focused on accumulating evidence.
Your tracker can be as simple as this: a column for the date and a Y or an N for whether you cast your vote. That's it. So what happens if you have an N day? Simple. You acknowledge you cast a vote for your old identity, and you just commit to casting a vote for your new one tomorrow. The rule to live by here is never miss twice. 1 missed day is an accident. 2 missed days is the start of a new habit. The goal here is not perfection, it's consistency. Every single Y you mark down is another brick in the foundation of your new self.
We've covered the paradox, the problem, the framework, the science, and the protocol. Now let's boil it all down to one foundational law that you can carry with you every single day.
Just let that sink in. Every action you take is a vote for the person you wish to become. Choosing to hit the snooze button, that's a vote for being someone who procrastinates. Choosing to put on your running shoes, that's a vote for being a runner. Every choice, no matter how small it seems, is you casting a ballot for a future version of yourself. The question is never if you are voting, you're always voting. The only question is, who are you voting for? So here is your immediate call to action, your assignment. First, write down your identity statement. I am what? And second, design your first 2-minute vote, the smallest possible action that proves that identity is true. Seriously, pause this if you have to. This isn't just information. This is an instruction. Your transformation doesn't start when you feel motivated. It starts the moment you take that first tiny action. That's your start.
And this is not a hypothetical question. With every single choice you make, you're answering it. By deciding on your identity and designing your first small vote, you are finally taking conscious control of the entire process. You're no longer just hoping for change, you are engineering it, one vote at a time. The power to transform your entire life isn't in some distant, heroic effort. It's in the next small choice you make. So, who will you vote to become? So, let's recap. The identity-based habits framework solves that huge problem of inconsistent effort and willpower failure. And why this matters is because it gives you a systematic way to make your habits automatic, just by aligning them with who you want to be. This system of defining your identity and tracking your daily votes, it works because it gets rid of that internal conflict, that cognitive dissonance, and it engages the automatic parts of your brain. Just remember, productivity isn't about doing more. It's about mastering systems that make focus effortless.